Again, thanks for joining me this morning. Let's get started in any comfortable seated position. You can prop the hips up if you'd like. Just take a few moments to settle into your hips and spine. If you want to work with any kind of hand gesture, mudra, you can have the first finger thumb together, the palms up. You can have the fingers interlocked. Anything that helps you to feel more settled in the physical body. Be more attentive to the breath. With each inhalation, we take that opportunity to draw our attention inward a bit more. So we start feeling more aware of how the body is responding to the breath. Any physical or subtle sensation we can pick up on. And we take the opportunity on our exhalations to let go of any unnecessary tension in the body. So keeping a upright position where we feel like we're sitting up tall without feeling rigid. Noticing the inhalations and exhalations lengthening on their own just by bringing attention to the breath. And as we stay mindful of our breathing pattern and any of those sensations, we'll start to bring some attention now to our intention for class. And this could be something you'd like to manifest in terms of your health or well-being. It could be a spiritual aspiration you have within your own heart. As you continue to focus on that intention, take the next 3 breaths with awareness at the heart center, right behind the sternum. Palms together in front of the heart center. We ask and trust that our practice today supports this intention and moves it towards its fullest expression. We'll chant Hare Om 3 times together to open up the practice. Inhale. Slowly open the eyes. And we're going to start on our backs today. So go ahead and move any props off to the side. Get yourself flat on the back first. And we're going to start off, make sure if you're on your back and you're close to a wall, just make sure you can have the arms lifted up above your head alongside your ears. Okay, so you want that position. And you're basically setting yourself up for bridge pose. So we're going to do that one dynamic bridge pose where you're rolling off to the side. So if this is new for you, just kind of look up for a moment, because there's going to be one movement where I'm going to tell you to roll onto your arm, and then the other arm is going to sweep across your body and then come to the floor like so. So there's going to be a movement like that, and most of you have done this with me in the past, but I just wanted to show those that might not be as familiar with it. So we're going to start off with knees bent, feet hip width distance apart and parallel. Arms are going to be alongside the body with the palms down. Sure, everything feels situated here. We feel rooted through the ball on our big toe, pinky toe, and center of the heel. And then on your next inhalation, first round is to lift hips up. Both arms go up alongside the ears. So that's going to be a symmetrical movement. And as you exhale, you'll lower the spine and hips down. Arms go back alongside the hips. Now this is what we're going to roll onto the right arm as you lift your hips up. Sweep the left arm across the body. Lengthen through the left sideline, and then as you exhale, you'll come back down to where you started. Then we're going to switch off to the left side. So on this inhale, roll onto the left side, lift the hips, stay rooted through both feet, lengthen through the right sideline, and then come back onto the back. We're going to do that 2 more times, so 3 full rounds. Symmetrical here, inhaling up, exhale down, inhale, roll onto the right side. Back on the exhale, you might move a little faster or slower than me. I want you to connect the breath with your movement. And then onto the left side in the next inhale. We'll do that one last round. So both arms up. Strong hamstrings, strong glutes. Lower down. Feel that wave-like motion along the spine as you lower the hips. Strong in the glutes here as you lift up. Again, we're staying rooted through both feet. And once we're back to center, you're going to stay here for just 1 or 2 resting breaths. Let anybody needs to get caught up. Take your time, no rush. And then the next move, we're going to cross the shins. So you're going to be on your back still. Go ahead and cross your ankles, shins. You're basically going to grab opposite hand and foot, right? So right now, my left hand's going to grab the top of my left foot. Left hand's grabbing the right foot, and then my right hand's grabbing the top of my left foot, right? So you've got this position here, and then we're going to do a little rocking from side to side. Just going to get in. A little massage there for the muscles along the spine, releasing the lower back. Now go ahead and switch the cross of the legs. Grab the feet again. Right. You can draw the thighs in a little closer toward the navel. Just check in with your breathing pattern. Make sure you're still regulating the breath. About a 5-second breath in and 5-second breath out. And then we'll bring the soles of both feet down. You take the right leg straight up toward the sky. Interlock your fingers behind the thigh, calf, or right up to the ankle here. Don't grab the foot because we're going to do ankle rotations. And then once you have this position with the legs, settle into the right hip. Extend your left leg out onto the floor. Toes are going to point straight up. With your upper body, hold the right leg in place so you can relax some unnecessary tension in the right thigh and hip. And then do some ankle rotations on this side. Range of motion here. Reverse that direction. Anywhere between 5 and 10 reps for the rotation. Alright, now we're going to keep working with this leg. We're going to bend the right knee, externally rotate the right thigh, so you're going to feel like the inside of your right thigh is coming closer to the inside of the right thigh is coming to the outside of that right rib cage. And then see if you can grab the inside of the foot. Now you might have to lift your head up at first, but if you're not able to bring your head and shoulder blades back down, then keep a hold of the shin or the calf. And when you start doing this, this left leg might start to lift up, and that's okay. Just keep it firm enough so we're not letting this left leg go into too much external rotation. The toes are still pointing straight up. As you have all of that, whether you have the bind with the leg at the ankle or the inside of the foot, you want to feel like the sole of that right foot is standing on the ceiling, right? So we've got a nice flat foot there, straight up toward the sky, and we're going to hold this shape here. I don't want you to put too much force or effort into trying to get your thigh down to the floor. I want you to hold wherever that natural boundary is, and as you breathe, just feel like you're creating space in the hip joint. So if you're putting too much pressure, too much weight, sometimes we create more restriction there and tension. So I want you to just find a real comfortable sweet spot. And again, even if you have to hold the leg here, that's totally fine. Take one more breath on this side. And then we're going to release this leg down, sole of the right foot on the floor first. Left leg goes straight up towards sky. Interlock fingers around thigh or calf. Once you have that leg in place, settle in, let go of any unnecessary tension, and then straighten out the right leg, toes point straight up. Once you have that position, ankle rotations on this side. Checking with your breathing pattern. Both directions. Alright. And then bend left knee. Rotate the thigh out so that it can slide more in line with the outside of your left rib cage. Find the bind that's going to work for you with the leg around the shin or the inside of the foot. Sole of the foot either way is pointing straight up toward the sky. Checking with right thigh and then hold that shape here. And probably want to find maybe whatever your 100% is. Like let's say I could take my leg way down closer to the floor if I really use a lot of effort. I'm going to do that about 80%. So we're doing about 80% of what we feel like our deepest stretches with this one. And it's more about creating space, getting the shape in the body, seeing if there are any areas in the hip, lower back that might need a little bit more attention. Alright, one more breath here. And then inhale and release. We'll bring the sole of that left foot down. Then we're going to bend both knees, have the feet wide, about mat width distance apart. Take arms out to a T formation with your palms up. And then we'll do some windshield wipers next. So we're going to get the knees to the right and then turn the head to the left. And then come back to center with knees and chin. Knees to the left. As you exhale, head to the right. Go back and forward. Connect your breath with your movement. This one is breath enhanced. Follow through with your breath, especially the inhalation. It's really easy to kind of rush through the inhale. So if you need to pause at the top there, everything's center, follow through the inhale, and then drop into the exhale. Do one more with the legs to the right, and one more with the legs to the left. Coming back to center from there. You're going to either roll over to the side or rock yourself up. And then we're going to come up onto all fours. Stack knees under hips and wrists under shoulders. Once you have this position here, we'll do a simple spinal wave. So tailbone, chest, and head are all lifting up. Take a full breath in. As you exhale, leave the head up. Start to tuck the tailbone first. Feel lower, middle, upper back move. Relax the neck at the end. And then we'll leave the head heavy as you inhale to tailbone up. Follow that wave-like motion up the spine until the head lifts up last. That's one round, and you'll continue with that movement at your own pace. As you're exhaling, you want to feel those deep lower abdominal muscles firing up right above and behind the pubic bone, and then take that feeling all the way through the abdominal area up toward the rib cage. Take one more round with that movement. And then we'll come to a neutral position for the spine. Take a couple resting breaths there. And from here, we're going to bring the knees a little closer toward the midline. Make any minor adjustments here in the upper half of the body so we feel like we're still rooting through all the fingertips. Upper body feels supportive around the shoulder girdle. And then we're going to take hip rotations. So we're going to take that right leg up, keep the knee bent, little engagement with glute and hamstring there. So take the knee off to the side, then to the center, take it slightly forward, and then hit those 3 points as you move in more of a circular fashion with the head not correlating the breath necessarily with the movement, but you might find an organic connection with your breath as you're, moving the leg. And reverse that direction, stay on the same leg. And we'll bring that right knee down next to the left. Make minor adjustments again. Stabilizing the upper half of the body. The left leg goes up and back to the side and forward. And set. Getting more invested in how this movement is affecting all these deep muscles in the hips. We're going to reverse the direction. Core muscles, lower abdominal area. Alright, knee down. We're going to get the knees, feet, hip width distance apart. Curl the toes under. Move the wrists a couple inches in front of your shoulders. So when you do move the shoulders back over the wrist, you're in this modified plank. Right? So my thighs are going to be at a slight angle here. Keep the toes curled under. Slowly start moving the hips back toward the wall behind you. And as you do this, I want you to be sensitive to the reaction that the upper leg bone is having in that hip socket. So there's more of a natural internal rotation with that upper leg bone now. And then come forward, and then go back and forth at your own pace. So I'm going to be exhaling on the way back, being sensitive to how those leg bones are responding to the movement, in the hip socket, and then coming forward on the inhale. Do that a couple more times. It's pretty subtle movement. If you're not picking up on it, totally, that's okay. Let this repetition of the movement start to free up this joint more. Then we're going to do the same thing. When we go back again, I want you to maybe do about 80%. Hold the shape. Keep the lower belly pretty firm. Breathe naturally. Alright. Then we're going to come forward again. This time when you exhale, go back into downward facing dog. Once the hips get backing up, feels good to bend one knee, press the opposite heel, alternate the legs. Do that. And we're going to come forward into the top of a push-up. Just about 30 seconds here. About 30 seconds. At any point, you can bring the knees down. Otherwise, keep the legs charged up. Knees down, knees wide, tops of the feet to the floor, go back into child's pose. And take a couple resting breaths there. And lift the heart and head up. Go ahead and just sit in a seated position for a second. Just sit back on the heels. This next one we don't do too often, so I want to make sure you have options. When we're taking this one-armed plank variation here, make sure that I would recommend doing this on the knees first, like in this kind of modified plank version. Because what I'm going to have you do is shift your body weight. A lot of core here to stabilize, and all we're doing is we're going to lift this palm away from the floor, and I want you to feel like you just squeeze those muscles around that right shoulder blade. And then we're going to alternate. Then we root, and then we pull back, and then we shift, and we pull back. Now, some of you might be familiar with this and you know that you can do it in full plank pose, totally fine. If you do it in full plank, I'm going to recommend that you take the feet a little wider than your hips. It does help to stabilize more so that you don't shift the hips from side to side as much. You'll really fire up the core. So we're going to set ourselves up either a modified plank or full plank. And then a few rounds each side. Shift, palm lifts up. Strong upper back. You root through all those fingertips. The supportive palm. Last round. Alright. That last round, knees close together, tops of the feet to floor, sit back on the heels. If you need a block bolster or a combination of props to make Vajrasana more available, go ahead and set yourself up. Then we'll do a little wrist opening. We're going to interlock the fingers, have the forearms close together, and we'll do that figure 8 with the hands. Reverse that direction. And then we'll head back into downward facing dog. From this downward facing dog, on the exhale, take right foot forward to a wide runner's lunge. Set yourself up with the left arm is supported, back leg is strong. On the exhale, twist to the right, stay rooted through ball mounted right big toe. And on the inhale, we're going to take that side stretch. You're going to sweep that right arm across the front edge of the mat. Sink the hip a little bit, right? Lengthen that right rib cage away from the crease of the hip. And then go back and forth. So on the exhale, we go into the twist. On the inhale, we take the side stretch. A little more flexion in the hip. Do that 4 rounds dynamically. And after that 4th and final round dynamically, get that right palm back to the floor. Now gently bring your back knee down. Now if you need a little more cushion for that knee, use a blanket or a double up mat because that knee's going to stay down. And then you can choose here, taking the hands forward first. See how this feels in the hip. Now some of us might need to splay the toe and the knee off to the side a little bit more. If there's any pinching, right, make adjustments here with that so that you get a little more of an opportunity to access the hip. Some of you can keep the toes pointing straight ahead, the knee. So find that first before you go any further with flexion in the hip. Because then you'll have the opportunity to either stay here or start to bend the elbows. Some of you may be able to come all the way down onto the forearms. And then hold that shape, breathe naturally. If there's any gripping you can let go of, remember we don't want to use force here. We don't want to create more tension. Create space, let go of gripping. We'll come back up onto the palms, back into downward facing dog. And then we'll switch sides. So left leg forward, wide runner's lunge. Set yourself up, strong back leg. Get the twist here, take a breath here. Make sure we're rooting through that left foot. Twist from the waist. Take the side stretch. Make sure we're lengthening from the rib cage, not just drawing the arm bone out of the shoulder socket. And then go back and forth 4 times. Exhale into the twist. Inhale into the side stretch. And after that 4th and final round, And we gently bring that back knee down. We bring hands slightly forward. We make adjustments in the left leg and position of the hip. Maybe the foot needs to go out a little bit wider. Find a sweet spot before you deepen the flexion in the hip. Elbows, bring forearms to floor. From there we hold the shape. No pushing, no struggling. Palms back on the floor, and we head into downward facing dog next. 1 to 2 resting breaths there. Come forward into plank pose and lower all the way down to the floor. Flat on belly and thighs. We'll lift the chest up just enough to lengthen the navel. We'll bring that navel back to the floor. Cross the wrist, place chin on cross wrist. Get your big toes to touch and heels to fall away from each other in the Karnapidasana. Take a few resting breaths here. Let that lower back curve settle in. And let go of any gripping or unnecessary tension in the hips, legs, and lower back. We'll get the legs close together again. Bend both knees. And then sweep the feet in big circle. Feel that playing out in the hip and lower back. Reverse the direction. Tops of the feet to the mat, about mat width distance apart. And then interlock fingers over the hips. Broaden the collarbones. Engage glutes to lift feet up. Strong back to lift the heart. Make sure we're not compressing the back of the neck, but there might be more of a lengthening in the front of the throat. Down, hands under shoulders, curl the toes under, strong navel, push up and back into downward facing dog. And then we'll bring left knee behind the left wrist for one-legged pigeon pose. Sweep the right leg back, settle into the hips. And then we'll bring the forearms down. You can rest forehead on the back of the hands. Settle into the lower half of the body. Let go of any unnecessary tension in your right thigh. Few deep breaths here. Now, in this position, keep the lower half of the body where it's at for now. Get your right forearm on the floor, forearm parallel to the short edge of the mat in front of you, elbow under, shoulder. Left hand on left thigh, open up the chest toward the wall on your left, and then you can choose to stay here or bend right knee and reach for the inside of right foot with left hand. If you do have the bind, make sure hips stay even and push the top of the foot into the hand while you continue to lengthen the sternum away from the belly button and turn the chest toward the wall on the left. There's more of a taut feeling there in that left arm. And the inhale. We'll release the bind. Come back where both palms are supportive. Take body weight out of the hips. Take downward facing dog next. And then switch sides. Right knee forward. Left foot back. Hips down. Once you have the lower half of the body established, we'll take forearms down to the floor. You can rest forehead on the backs of the hands. Take the first few breaths here to settle into the lower half of the body. And we'll do that second variation. Left forearm parallel to the short edge of the mat. Strong upper left back. Twist toward your toward your right, and possibly bind with the left foot. Come out of twist. Find your way back into downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, walk hands toward feet till the heels reach the floor. Once they do, come up halfway, lengthen. Deepen the forward fold, knees generously bent, hands under feet for Pacifying. Only straighten the legs as much as you need to get a meaningful stretch in the back line of the legs without putting any strain in the lower back. Neck muscles are relaxed, head is heavy. The hands from underneath the feet. Heel toe the feet out a little wider. Pinky toes, outer edge of the heel, probably toward the edge of the mat. And then when you splay the toes out, the toes will be off the mat. Sink the hips down into Malasana. Palms together in front of the chest. Strong back. So lift the chest, sternum away from the belly button as much as you can here. Breath. And we'll reach the hands forward. You go more into flexion of the spine here. And then we'll prepare for Bakasana. Hands a little wider than the shoulders. Heel toe the feet in, closer toward each other. Use those upper arms as shelves. Elbows bent symmetrically. Shins resting on top of those arms. One foot comes up at a time, and both feet come up, and then anywhere between 3 to 5 full breaths, or 2 breaths on each side if you're using 1 foot at a time. Down, and then we'll walk the hands forward, top of a push-up, and then lower all the way back to the floor. Lift the chest up, lengthen the navel. And then we'll work on Lapasana. Right arm straight out to the side, wrist as high as your jaw, and right shoulder in contact with the floor. Left palm stays supported next to chest, bend left knee, roll left hip back, extend the left leg, fold the shape here, make a conscious connection diagonally across the body from right shoulder to left hip. We'll roll back onto the left hip and we'll switch sides. Left arm off to the side. Roll right hip back. Check in with your breathing pattern. And rolling back onto the right hip. Hands under shoulders. Leave knees on floor. Push chest and belly away from floor. And then we'll bring the left knee forward again behind the wrist. We're going to take another slightly variation of a pigeon, but once that left leg is forward, come to sit onto your left hip. And most of you have done this with me in the past. We're going to take this left shin parallel to the short edge of the mat. And if this is new for you, you're not quite sure where we're going, you might want to watch for these first few steps and then follow suit. Once you have this shape here, make minor adjustments in the left hip so that feels comfortable. You're going to twist now at the waist and get your left shoulder either to the calf, or some of you can bring it underneath the calf. Right? So one of those two options. Then once you have this position, you're going to grab the left foot with your right hand. Thumb on the sole of the foot, fingers on the top of the foot. Then this left hand is going to go to this thigh. You're going to activate this leg, pushing the heel away from the hip. Head goes under the arm. Okay? So if you are in it with me, go ahead and stay there and focus on the shape, conscious breathing, letting go of gripping. If you need to get let into it, again, the first step is to twist, bring shoulder to the top or to the underneath left calf. Once you have that, then you're going to reach for that left foot with right hand, and then activate your right thigh and leg to push the heel away from the hip. Hold the shape. As you inhale, relax your right leg. Slowly come out of the forward fold and the twist. And then get your left heel closer toward your hip before shifting back onto the palms and into plank pose. And then we're going to change sides. The right knee comes forward. We're going to sit onto the right hip. Get that right shin parallel to the short edge of the mat. Minor adjustments with the right hip. Twist. Deep flexion in that right hip. So we've done a couple exercises here where you feel that rib cage kind of sliding to the inside of that thigh. Same thing here. Go a little bit further now that we've done some of those preparatory exercises. Left hand, right foot, thumb on the sole of the foot, fingers on top. We're going to activate this left leg. Hold the shape. Relax left leg. Inhale to come out here. The twist, the flexion. Right heel toward hip. Then go into the top of a push-up. Couple breaths in full plank pose. And then we'll bring knees down. From here and across the ankles, bring the feet forward in front. Now, seated forward folds are more comfortable for you, or you feel like you have more availability with elevated hips. You're going to elevate the hips here now. Excuse me. And then if you want to bend the knees here, you can also bend the knees. We're going to take Pacifying. Lengthen, forward fold, hands on the floor, calves or binding with the feet. And then take a couple of breaths here where you're allowing more flexion in the spine to occur, right? So with Pacifying, it's not like the back is like really flat, and you know, it's kind of this combination of giving into the flexion but still lengthening from that space under the rib cage. Take one more breath here. And then we're going to inhale and come up out of this. And even if you're able to reach for the feet with the legs straight in Pacifying, that's typically how you practice, I'm going to have you bend your knees with this one, because we're going to get this particular feeling in the body, which is going to help us with this next posture. We're going to also take the feet more hip width distance apart. So typically the legs are close together. Something like Pacifying, we're going to take the legs apart. Then I want you to bend your knees as much as you need to for everyone here, where you can grab the big toes with your first two fingers, these fingers. Grab the big toes here. And notice that my back is rounding a little bit here, right? So that's going to be normal. However, once I have that bind, I'm going to pull back and I'm going to lift my chest up. So it's kind of like this feeling where I'm engaging the back, creating this taut feeling through the arms. Now, my spine was, still being a little bit of flexion, but my back muscles are engaged with this shape. Now, you might explore, play around as you continue to breathe here. Maybe I can take my legs a little bit straighter, right, and still keep that, right? So explore where your boundary is, where you feel like you can keep a pretty long torso and those back muscles engaged while you've got that bind with the toes. The moment you start to cave into the chest, then you probably have straightened the legs a little bit too much. And then once you find that sweet spot, so explore where that's at, and then I want you to hold the shape. 5-second breath in, 5-second breath out. Inhale to release that bind. Good. We're going to take the legs close together, point the toes away from the knees. Get the wrists about an inch behind the hips with the fingers pointing forward. Now, some of us might want to do an adjustment here. If front of the shoulders are pretty tight, lifting the hips up with the fingers pointing straight ahead might be a little bit too much. So you might want to splay your your fingers off at a slight angle and maybe widen the distance between your wrists. You've done this pose Pacifying before, you know where you're at. Go ahead and lift up into it, take about 3 full breaths. You might need to come up into it and be like, ooh, this doesn't feel great, and make those adjustments if you need to. Don't just suffer through it once your hips are up. Know that you have those modifications to take if you need them. Piece of the resistance. Piece of the resistance. So Jimmy posted a picture of me. I think he said that it was right before we opened Tejas. Those pictures. So if you follow us on social media, you know which picture we're probably talking about. But it was an archer pose. So with archer pose, you're binding both feet with those first 2 fingers and the toes. Right? We'll start with the right leg bent here. You're going to grab the big toe, the first 2 fingers. Right? Loosen up any tension that you might find here in the hip. Just kind of do a little bit of movement here. Same bind with this leg. However, you'll see in all the fancy Yogi Journal pictures that this leg is straight. Now that might not be available for us. So this is where I wanted you to find your sweet spot. And if the knee slightly bent really worked with you, where you were able to get a nice strong back, then you'll have the knee slightly bent. That's the modification that you make. It's going to give you the same sensation. It's better to have that knee bent and get this strong back and really strong core with this instead of rounding the upper back or straining the lower back. Then once you have these two positions, this right leg is going to come up and we're going to draw this foot back toward the ear. And I want you to really focus on some of those back muscles. Remember that very first kind of alternating plank that we did where we used the back muscles to lift that hand away from the floor? Those same muscles are going to fire up here. So we want to use core to hold the shape, and we're going to use those upper back muscles to draw this foot back. Let's do it! Oh my gosh, let's see what happens. It's so fun. And inhale to come out of that. Alright? Change sides. Do the same thing. Do a little movement with this left hip, settle into hips. Grab that other toe. This knee's bent a little bit. That's alright. Strong core. Feel all these muscles in your around your rib cage like engaging, stabilizing. And then that left foot lifts up. Then we use those strong back muscles to draw the foot back. And then we'll release. Then I'm going to show you before we roll onto the back next. With this next posture, we don't do it too often. It's a pretty deep forward fold. Since we've done a lot of prep work, figured I'd throw it in here, give you the opportunity to work with it, since the body would be more prepared for it. It's called Karnapidasana. Karp means like a ear. And so when we're getting into shoulder stand, right, we're typically bringing the feet over the head, and then we'll go into positions like plow pose. Right? So in order to do Karnapidasana, I want you to do plow first, shoulder stand next, and then Karnapidasana. So I'm going to show you the sequence here. And if you use a standard folded blanket underneath the shoulders and the arms for shoulder stand, go ahead and you can set yourself up that way. But we've got plow pose first. Shoulder stand. So just like 3 breaths in plow, about 7 breaths, 8 breaths in shoulder stand. And then Karnapidasana, so remember it's Karpin, I think means ear. We're taking the inside of the knees toward the ears. Now they might not go all the way to the floor, and that's okay. I don't want you to force it. But we've got the support here, and we start to bring the knees down. And then we grab the feet. And then from Karnapidasana, we'll slowly come out of that. So again, the knees might not come all the way to the floor, but the reason, one of the benefits of that is eventually the knees, as they get closer to the ears, it blocks the sound out, and it becomes very womb-like when you have that effect. Even if the knees are closer to the ears, you'll still get a little bit of that kind of womb-like effect. So go ahead and set yourself up. Get into plow pose first. Now if the feet don't touch the floor for plow, remember you can do candlestick pose, which is bending the knees, having the knees hover over the face. The toes will point straight up. So you can choose candlestick or plow for 3 breaths. And then take your time. Shoulder stand would be next. Somewhere around 7 or 8 full breaths. Remember, when we're in any inversion, The exhalations will be a little longer than the inhalations. Just want to check in, making sure that the breath doesn't get erratic or too short. You've got the organs weighing on the diaphragm muscle, so sometimes we put a little more effort into that inhale to ensure that inhale doesn't get too short. Just allow for those longer exhalations. And take your time, there's no rush. When you're ready to give Karnapidasana the old college try, and take your time and really feel things out. Like, don't push anything, don't struggle. Find the first position, knees bent, knees come closer toward the ears. Hold the shape. And if you feel comfortable enough reaching for the feet, you can reach for the feet. Otherwise, you can always stay supported on the lower back with your hands. Should come out slowly. Now all meet up with the knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor, mat with distance, and let the knees fall in toward each other. Excuse me. Take some resting breaths there. We'll let everyone meet up here. And then to initiate some compensation, we're going to go into Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet together, heels close to the hips. Minor adjustments in the hips, let that lower back curve come into play here. And then once the lower half of the body is established, you can have arms alongside the body with a slight angle, palms up, or you can grab opposite elbows above your head. We'll take a good 5 to 7 full breaths here. Relax your eyes, relax your jaw. Sweep the arms next to the torso. Slowly move the feet away from the hips. If you have a blanket underneath the shoulders, head, you can move that if it's still there. And then once the legs are fully extended, you're going to then bend your left knee. Bring the right ankle on top of the left thigh. So it's going to feel like you're going into reclining pigeon, but we're going to do a little movement here with this shape. Arms to a T formation, palms up. So you want the right foot and the outer edge of your left foot pretty flush. You're going to slowly take the sole of that right foot toward the floor on your left. That's going to be our exhale. And on the inhale, we're going to slowly bring the leg back up, just slightly past the center. We're not going to take the right knee down to the floor on the other side. So just past the center point, and then go back and forth with that exercise. Make sure we fire up some of these deeper stabilizing muscles in the hips. Sometimes with these deeper forward folds, those, especially when we're working with a little external rotation, those can be a little worked. So just want to bring those to more ease. balance. And then come back to center and switch the legs. So for some of you, this might not feel like much. It just depends on what you access in the rest of the class today, and um, where each of us are holding more of our attention or where more of our work was. But this movement will still access some of these deeper core muscles in the hips. And if the sole of the foot doesn't go all the way down to the floor, that's okay. You don't have to force it. You're just taking it down as far as it goes. It gives us a nice little massage of those muscles in the hips and the lower back. Last round on this side. Center. And then soles of both feet on the floor, hip width distance apart now, heels pretty close to hips without touching. And then minor adjustments in the upper back, make sure hips, rib cage feel all in the same plane here for a simple bridge. Engage the glutes, lift the hips up. Upper back and shoulders feel supportive. Pull the shape. Follow the breath into the body. Notice how your body is responding to the breath. And we'll lower down from there. Take a couple resting breaths. Assess the physical body. If there's any other simple posture or movement you feel would be helpful, bring more compensation into any muscles or joints, feel free to do that. And because we did some deep reflection and work with the hip today, as you're setting up for Shavasana, if you feel like your lower back did a lot of work today, you might want to put something underneath the knees for Shavasana today, just to have a little flexion with the knees, and notice that brings a little more ease into the lower back when you're lying flat on the back. So you might consider that if you don't do that already. If there's any other ways that you set yourself up for corpse pose, something over the eyes, another layer of clothes to maintain your body temperature, feel free to set yourself up so that you're getting into your most comfortable and neutral position for the physical body. Once you find that space, letting all the muscles and the bones give in to gravity. Take that moment, set the intention, be receptive, absorbing all the benefits of the practice today. Every cell, every tissue, mind, spirit, staying receptive to all that's within your highest good, every facet of your being. some movement in the physical body. Start taking deeper breaths in. Take your time, eventually finding your way back up to a comfortable seated position. You may want the hips a little higher than the knees this time, so we're to go into some breath work and concentration. Settled in, find a mudra with the hands that works for you. Close your eyes, start to focus on the physical sensation of the breath, moving through the nose, in both the inhale and the exhale. As you continue to focus on the movement of the breath, moving through the nostrils, start to pay attention to two particular points. Center of the brain as you're inhaling, the space below the nostrils, about the height of your collarbones on the exhale. Attention and carve out that pathway between those 2 points as you're inhaling and exhaling. A short pause. Take that short 2-second internal breath retention. Hold your attention at the center of the brain. And as you take that short external breath retention, about 2 seconds, you hold your attention at that space in front of the collarbones. Keep in mind, this is where individual prana and cosmic prana merge. To create a pathway within the mind to alternate the nostrils now. Your next inhale, focus on the inhale through left nostril, center of the brain, pausing at the end, and then switching the attention to the right nostril as you exhale. Space below the nostrils, slight pause. Inhale, we keep the attention through the right nostril, center of the brain, slight pause, and then we go back to exhaling with the attention on the left nostril, and then collarbones, slight pause, and that's one round. Continue with that pattern, left, right, right, left, still keeping in mind all the other components that we've established. Begin to add that ratio to the breath last. 6-second inhale, 6-second exhale, and anywhere between a 2 to 6-second internal and external breath retention. The last thing we add here, we'll continue with the practice with your count. finishing up the last round. Take your time. Rush, wind up, exhaling with the awareness on that left nostril and having your attention resting at that space below the nostrils, just in front of the collarbones. Establish our next pathway between the space below the nostrils. As we inhale, we take the attention through the nostrils, now past the center of the brain, then down the midline of the body to a space deep in the center of the body behind the belly button. And as you exhale, you take your attention back up the midline, past the center of the brain, out through the nostrils, back to that space in front of the collarbones. One round, you go back and forth between those 2 points, following that pathway, observing the sensations along the way, connecting your breath with that awareness along the path. Last round, awareness settling at the pit of the navel. Observe any subtle sensations or the condition of the mind. With the intention of taking our awareness throughout the whole body, keeping in mind that where our attention goes, prana, or vital life force, follows, allowing this intelligence innate within prana to bring any sort of balance or healing, harmony to all of the cells, all of the tissue, joints, and even the space between the cells and the joints. The muscle fibers, the nervous tissue. Start there by letting our attention drift out slowly through the abdominal area, reaching all the digestive organs, glands, considering the front, back, and sides of the body as we take our attention through, down to the hips, up toward the chest cavity, the heart, the lungs, the reproductive organs. Shoulders, through the hips, toward the throat, thyroid, parathyroid glands, all the tissue, the bones in the arms, the legs, the joints of the elbows and the knees, the forearms, the calves, you start getting up into the skull. Consider the brain, eyes, the ears, the sinuses. Get to the soles of our feet, palms, fingertips and toes, and all the way to the crown of the head. Any colors, images that come up, acknowledge anything that arises without attachment. Take our attention slightly beyond the physical body on the next breath in. Going there too, our own energy field is charged, stable. The next exhale, we take the attention back to the spine, into the hips. We notice our body weight is supported. Bring the palms together in front of the heart center. Take a moment for reflection and gratitude. Anything that moves through our hearts and our minds, we'd like to acknowledge and to give thanks for. We'll seal the practice by chanting Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Inhale. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May all beings, without one exception, know peace and be released from suffering. So it is, and so it shall be. Slowly open the eyes. Alright everyone, take your time getting up. Thanks for joining me for the live class. And you can always reach out to us at info@tejasyogachicago.com if you have any questions or comments.